Ambassador Kethvar adjusted his ceremonial robes as he gazed upon the pristine conference chamber aboard the neutral station Concordia. Representatives from 12 galactic civilizations sat in their designated pods, each species maintaining the careful diplomatic distance that had preserved peace for 3 millennia. The Zephyrians, with their crystalline forms, the gaseous nebulans contained within their environmental suits, the towering Korathi with their beetle-like carapaces, all had gathered for what would be remembered as the most consequential peace summit in galactic history. At the center of the circular chamber sat an empty pod, smaller than the others, designed for the newest species to be granted observer status in the Galactic Accord. Humans. Kethvar's translator hummed softly as he addressed the assembly. Esteemed colleagues, today we extend our hand to a species that has achieved faster-than-light travel in merely 57 of their orbital cycles. The humans have demonstrated sufficient technological advancement to warrant inclusion in our peaceful confederation. The Korathi delegate, Chancellor Thrix, clicked his mandibles skeptically. Their advancement concerns me, Ambassador. Our intelligence suggests they achieved nuclear capability and space travel with unusual aggression, which is precisely why we must guide them. Kethvar replied smoothly. The Accord has maintained galactic peace through careful integration of emerging species. We shall teach them our ways of conflict resolution, resource sharing, and diplomatic harmony. A soft chime indicated the arrival of the human vessel. Through the transparent aluminum viewports, they watched a sleek ship dock, crude by galactic standards, but impressive for such a young civilization. 3 humans entered the chamber, a woman with graying hair who moved with quiet confidence, a younger man carrying what appeared to be a primitive data tablet, and an elderly gentleman whose eyes seemed to take in everything at once. The woman stepped forward. I'm Secretary of State Chen, representing Earth's United Nations. This is Dr. Marcus Webb, our xenobiologist, and General Harrison, our military advisor. Kethvar felt a flutter of unease. Military advisor? No species had brought military representation to a peace summit in over 2,000 years. Welcome, Kethvar said, his translator rendering his words in what their linguists had determined was English. We are honored to invite humanity into our peaceful confederation. For millennia, our civilizations have coexisted through the principles of the Accord, regulated resource allocation, conflict mediation through the Council, and adherence to established territorial boundaries. Secretary Chen listened intently, then asked, "And what happens when a species disagrees with the Council's decisions?" The question hung in the air like a toxic gas leak. Chancellor Thrix's carapace clicked nervously. Disagreement is unusual. The Council weighs all factors and renders optimal solutions. But what if a species believes the solution is unjust? Dr. Webb interjected, his tablet recording everything. Kethvar's throat sacs inflated, a sign of stress among his people. Justice is achieved through consensus. The Council's wisdom prevents the chaos that once plagued the galaxy. General Harrison leaned forward, his weathered face curious. What kind of chaos? Wars, Chancellor Thrix snapped. Before the Accord, species fought over resources, territory, ideological differences. Billions died in senseless conflicts. So you eliminated conflict by eliminating choice, Secretary Chen observed quietly. The chamber fell silent. No one had ever phrased it quite that way. Kethvar quickly recovered. We eliminated suffering through cooperation. Each species contributes according to their capabilities and receives according to their needs. The A. Zephyrians provide computational power. The Nebulans offer energy manipulation. The Karathi serve as enforcement. Enforcement of what? General Harrison interrupted. Of the Accord's decisions, Kethvar stammered. Dr. Webb looked up from his tablet. So the Karathi are essentially your military arm, ensuring compliance with council decisions? We prefer peacekeepers, Chancellor Thrix growled, but his tone suggested discomfort with the human's directness. Secretary Chen stood, her movement somehow commanding attention from every being in the chamber. Gentlemen, ladies, and esteemed entities, I appreciate the invitation to join your confederation. However, I must respectfully decline. The chamber erupted in confused chatter across a dozen different communication methods. Kethvar's translator struggled to keep up. You decline? Kethvar managed. But the technological benefits, the protection, the resources. We've reviewed your accord, Secretary Chen continued calmly. You've created peace through authoritarian control. Species lose their autonomy in exchange for security. That's not peace. That's oppression with better marketing. General Harrison added, Where we come from, we have a saying. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Dr. Webb tapped his tablet. We've also noticed something interesting in your historical records. Before the Accord, yes, there were wars, but there was also innovation, exploration, cultural exchange, scientific advancement. In the 3,000 years since the Accord, technological and social progress has essentially stagnated. Kethvar felt his world shifting beneath him. But the peace is the peace of the grave, Secretary Chen replied. You've created a galaxy of children, dependent on a parent, counsel to make their decisions. She activated a holographic display that filled the chamber's center. Let me show you something. This is Earth's history. Brutal, chaotic, often tragic. But look at what we accomplished through that struggle. Images flashed. Art, music, literature, scientific discoveries, space exploration, acts of heroism, and sacrifice. We fought wars, yes. We made mistakes, but we also learned, grew, and chose to be better. That choice, that freedom to succeed or fail, is what makes existence meaningful. The Zephyrian delegate, who had remained silent until now, spoke through crystalline resonance. You would bring chaos back to the galaxy? No, General Harrison said firmly. We'd bring freedom. The chaos you fear isn't the natural state of intelligent species. It's a phase of growth. You've frozen every civilization at adolescence. Secretary Chen gestured to the assembled delegates. How many of you chose to join the Accord? Really chose, with full knowledge of alternatives and the freedom to say no? The silence was deafening. Dr. Webb stood. We're not rejecting cooperation. We're rejecting subjugation. Earth proposes an alternative, a true alliance of free species, where decisions are made through genuine democracy, where individual civilizations retain their sovereignty, and where diversity of thought and culture is celebrated, not standardized. Kethvar watched in growing horror and fascination as his carefully ordered worldview crumbled. Around the chamber, he could see something awakening in the delegates' expressions, something that had been dormant for millennia. It was the dangerous, beautiful, terrible spark of independent thought. The nebular delegate's containment suit shimmered as it spoke. This alternative. It would mean uncertainty. Risk. Yes, Secretary Chen admitted. It would also mean possibility. As the human delegation prepared to leave, Secretary Chen turned back to the assembly. We'll be establishing the Free Species Alliance. Any civilization that values liberty over security is welcome to join. The choice, for perhaps the first time in 3,000 years, is yours. The humans departed, leaving behind a chamber full of beings grappling with concepts they had almost forgotten. Choice, freedom, and the terrifying responsibility that comes with both. Kethavar stared at the empty human pod, realizing that in trying to prevent chaos, they had inadvertently invited the most revolutionary force in the galaxy. Humans who refused to accept that peace required the surrender of their souls. The revolution had begun not with weapons or conquest, but with 3 simple words that would echo across the stars. You can choose.